So here's a connection that was found in the Zelda series that I thought was pretty cool and decided to make a video on it because if I'm being real, these two entries in the Zelda franchise couldn't be any farther apart as far as mood, for lack of a better word. I'm D-Rock with Zelda Theory, and hey, real quick, thank you for checking in as well as lending me your valuable time. Let's get into this. Majora's Mask, one of the darkest, most adult games in the Zelda series. The Wind Waker, one of the more childish games in the series as far as gameplay and story. Of course, this could be debated depending on your views of the game, but the point here is that these games are probably the most different from each other compared to if we were comparing Twilight Princess to Majora's Mask as an example. I think you and I can agree that those two games are pretty similar as far as dark vibes go, right? By the way, all the credit here goes to a Twitter user named @Reggie_800, so thank you for pointing this out and connecting these two games in a way. So what exactly connects these two games? Well, remember in the Wind Waker when you had to fight Phantom Ganon, I don't know, like 3 or 4 times throughout the story? Well, if you dive closer into those encounters and take a look at his sword, you will notice that there is some writing on the sword. I'll save you the trouble of having to go to translate this wording. You're welcome. But if you translate this phrase from ancient Hylian to English, it says, quote, Zubra Gebra. Now, if you are an OG fan of the Legend of Zelda series, these two words, or names, should sound familiar to you. Located in the mountain village area of the Snowhead Mountain, Zubora and Gebra are the blacksmiths that are in Majora's Mask that allow you to upgrade your Kokiri sword into the Razor Sword, and eventually what becomes the Gilded Sword after a pretty lengthy process in the game. It's totally worth it in my opinion because, I mean, it just looks freaking amazing, all the while doing an insane amount of damage as well. So yes, it is definitely worth your time to go through this side quest. Now here's the juicy part, friend. Zubara and Gebra only appear in Majora's Mask, and they're not really mentioned anywhere else in the series other than on Phantom Ganon's sword. The writing then on Phantom Ganon's sword would then seem to suggest that Ganon had the blacksmiths make the weapon during a trip to Termina. Pretty cool, right? Now, there is a little bit of an issue with this theory, right? Well, because Wind Waker and Majora's Mask take place in 2 separate timelines, it doesn't seem likely that Ganon would be able to commission a weapon from Zubara and Gebra, as because of in the Wind Waker timeline, he'd be too busy flooding all of Hyrule and ruling what remains, right? Does that make sense? I mean, even up to the time of this recording, we really don't know or understand where Termina is in relation to Hyrule, and it could possibly be that it was unaffected by the flooding and that Ganon managed to track down the 2 blacksmiths. But again, like a lot of things in the Zelda series, there's nothing to confirm this. Now, while speculating about how Ganon received a blade from these 2 blacksmiths named Zubora and Gebra, probably pronounced that wrong, and I'm sure you guys are going to tell me about that in the comments below. Just be patient with me. I'll get the names down sooner or later. I still love you anyways. Now, while we speculate that there's certain ways that Ganon could have received this blade from the 2 blacksmiths, it's all well and good, and it's also completely possible that the developers of Wind Waker put the Hylian glyphs on the Phantom sword simply as a little Easter egg to nod to Majora's Mask. Wind Waker, which was released in 2002, man, that was so long ago, was the next 3D Zelda game following Majora's Mask in 2000. Wind Waker isn't the only game that has us speculating over the timeline. I mean, hopefully by now you've seen that pretty legit trailer to the sequel of Breath of the Wild that Nintendo showed towards the beginning of summer. So I'm sure you can imagine the hype and all the theories that are going into that. Hopefully this video provided you with some value and that maybe you didn't know about this and now you do. And if you did, hey, I'm still glad you stopped by. I hope you found some value here. If you did, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and hey, listen, click here so we can nerd out on some more Zelda content and hang out. Let's talk soon. Much peace and love.